Hello, everyone. Sorry, change of scenery. My parents are doing something upstairs. And no, it's not something sus. My mom's cutting my dad's hair. It doesn't really matter anymore. Anyways, yeah, we're going to have a bit of like background Chinese in the background. So, yeah, you guys can just ignore that. Anyway, anyways, let's talk about phosphor slimes. What are they? How do they glow? And most importantly, why would they ever try to fly with those itty bitty little wings? And would they be considered friends or just straight up pests in the real world? First up, let's tackle how they glow. It it's probably the same way an anglerfish would glow by using microorganisms that they store in a special sac. However, there is no real source that is actually shown in Slime Rancher to have like any glowing microorganisms other than in the crystal slime crystals, I guess. But then again, that doesn't really count now, does it? However, they could be stored inside the fruit that the phosphor slime eats, such as pogo fruit and the Q berries. Maybe those have a slightly like one tiny bit of like the microorganisms, like 1/100th of a milligram of those glowing microorganisms inside the Q berries and the pogo fruits. But then again, that wouldn't really make sense because wouldn't the Q berries and the pogo fruits glow too? Well, maybe the Q berries and the pogo fruits, they're storing the glowing microorganisms inside some kind of a sac, just as the phosphor slimes are. But then again, wouldn't they glow either way then? Well, maybe they're storing some kind of glowing tissue inside their stomachs, or not stomachs, their glowing sacs, much as fireflies and anglerfish do. Then again, eventually, wouldn't these glowing microorganisms die off, or would they just continue to reproduce and eat something if there are microorganisms instead of tissue inside that glowing sac? If it is tissue, would the glow from the tissue eventually dim, or would it just go strong forever and ever? My guess would be the latter because we don't really see the glow dim from the phosphor slimes. Also, I am aware that part of my face looks white in this shot. Anyways, let's see here. Why do the phosphor slimes need to glow? It's honestly rather simple. Maybe it's so they can see better in the dark, as in dark as in the grotto. And also, in the wild, they seem to just pulsate or flash rather than actually glow. But in the grotto, it's noted that they do glow. So why is that? Maybe it's all down to behavior. In the wild, these phosphor slimes would glow or flash, not glow, flash or pulsate because they don't notice any actual danger or they don't feel alarmed or stressed. This is usually to communicate like happy feelings toward other phosphor slimes. They don't really glow, they pulsate or flash. Or maybe it's because in the wild there is a steady source of light, the moon. Yes, phosphor slimes only come out at night. So the moon is strong enough to allow them to see. However, in the grotto, yeah, the grotto is completely closed off, meaning that they really don't have a steady source of light to see with. Which means that they will have to turn on their little glow flashlights, as well as pulsating or flashing, to see where they're going. However, back to behavior, as in they do glow, how it's just not really noticeable in the moonlight. Maybe they glow more in the grotto due to stress or unhappiness. I mean, wouldn't you be stressed out and angry if someone decided to cage you? Dang, there's a whole other way to see Slime Rancher. But Then again, it could also just be, like I said, to see where the slimes are going, as the grotto is pretty dark. But what about their antennae? Well, my guess is that the antennae are just to sense pheromones given off by fruit in the grotto. In the wild, they don't really use their antennae because, well, they can see where the fruit is. So say, here's a pogo fruit, and here's the other slime. And then the slime is trying to get to the pogo fruit, but they can't really see. And then so they just had to use their little antennae, go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then they try to find those pheromones that lead to the fruit. And then when they find the fruit, they go, num, num, num. They're actually good. But anyways, yes, I have a gigantic bowl of grapes next to me. Don't mention it. But anyways, now onto their wings and whether they be considered pests in the real world. Their wings are minuscule, and by minuscule, I mean they'd probably be 3 inches long. Not even wide, just like 3 inches long. Why do I say this? Because, well, when you look at their in-game sprites, they're probably about as tall as the player is, and I'm going to accurately guess that the player is around 5'4". Come on, you guys. Girls aren't really that high. No, girls aren't really that tall. No offense to any girls, but still. I mean, the average man is taller than the average woman. So, I'm accurately guessing that this player is around, like, 5'4", 5'7". That's still taller than I am. But the player next to a phosphor slime, I'm going to accurately guess that the phosphor slime is around 3'1". That's massive. That phosphor slime will come up to around my stomach. And the wings, like I said, they will probably be only around this big if they came up to my stomach. So, yeah, those slimes are going to have a hard time flying. Why? Because their wings can't generate enough lift to lift them up in the air. It's the same reason why the bees from Minecraft won't even get off the ground. They're just too heavy. Same thing goes with the phosphor slime. In game, they leap up, they start using their wings, and then they come crashing back down to Earth. To Earth. However, this planet notably has a much less dense core, and I guess it just has less gravity, because when one of the slimes jumps, it's probably going to reach, like, I don't know, the roof of my kitchen here. It's probably going to reach that big ceiling light you see up there and come crashing right back down. An accurate guess for the weight of this slime would be around that cooking pot filled with water. Not that one. The other one. I'm still pointing at that one. No, the gray stainless steel cooking pot you see behind me. That one. It's probably going to weigh as much as that cooking pot filled with water. So yeah, imagine that leaping like 7 feet in the air and then come crashing back down onto the hood of your car. And that phosphor slime can say goodbye, as well as your car's entire engine. And the phosphor slime plorts, they don't even do anything. Look, they're hair gel. They're flipping hair gel. Even the plort... No, not the plort. The Slimepedia, it literally says, like, if you take a phosphor plort, and then if you rub it in your hair will glow. Boring, for one. For two, I don't want glowing hair. That's not even going to allow me to sleep at night. I have insomnia, like, seriously. But, obviously, that's just not going to work out. Also, you know why I say that planet, I'm just going to call it the goo planet, has, like, a much less dense atmosphere, I guess, and a lot less gravity than Earth does? Because the slimes are able to keep their shape. If this was Earth, then the slimes would just resemble large puddles on the ground. Unless they're giant pieces of cell division. not like, I'm not trying to say the S word, okay? I'm actually saying, like, maybe they're like giant cells enclosed in a cell wall. I mean, that does happen. Bubble algae is a single-celled organism, and it's massive. I think that's what it's called, bubble algae. But anyway, search up largest single-celled organisms. Some of them can become especially massive. So maybe that's the case with the slimes, except the slimes are just much, much larger. As in, like, much larger. So yeah, that's basically it for the phosphor slimes. Alright, peace out everyone.